Hi everybody, this is Kaushik Sengupta. I'm the director of the Hofstra online MBA program, and I have Kevin Taylor also with me, who's the executive director of the graduate programs for the Zarb School of Business. So welcome to this webinar, and we wanted to give you a quick overview about the program and give you essentially some of the details that you may be looking for, and then once we go through the the 10 or 12 slides, then we would open it up for questions, so you can kind of ask questions, and then we'll try to answer them as they come in, basically. So for our this is obviously the online MBA program, and just a brief overview of the program. Essentially, as it shows there, it's a 2-year accredited cohort program. We started this program last fall, so it's a relatively new program for us. In fact, it is the newest program for the Zarb School, and started with about 18 students in the last fall's cohort, basically, and they are currently going through the program at this point as we speak. So they are in their second semester of their courses, essentially. The next admission cycle, which is what you guys should probably be interested in, is for fall 2012, which essentially starts beginning of September. The classes actually start officially the day after Labor Day, actually, and we do have a short residency program before the classes start, probably a week before that time, so around end of August, around that time frame. So as you can see, this is a cohort program, which means we give you a strict sequence of courses, and essentially if you stay on that sequence, you will finish the program in 2 years. Of course, that means that you're taking an average of about 4 courses a semester, and the courses are, the 4 courses in a semester on an average is basically split between 2 halves of the semester each, which is 7 weeks long. So you're essentially taking like 2 courses over 7 weeks. The first 7 weeks you take the first 2, and the second 7 weeks you take the second 2 courses in that semester. So that's the load if you stay on the cohort plan. After the first semester, you do have the flexibility to opt out of the cohort if you want to, that is, which means you go to a reduced course load, and essentially the trade-off there is that you end up spending a little while longer in the program because you're taking a lesser number of courses for any reason that you may want to kind of have a lower course load. You'll do that basically if you need to. The class size is limited to 25 students, so it's a small class, and essentially we have a rolling admissions policy. And I should just tell you that at this point we have already started receiving applications, and we have made a few admission decisions already. So if you are seriously interested in joining this fall, then you should get in touch with us and basically apply as soon as you can, essentially. And we'll talk a little bit further in terms of the application process a little later on. The courses are completely online, so you're not coming to campus for any of the courses. Essentially, you're saving on the commuting time. You have a lot of flexibility in terms of when you want to do or go through the course materials. We call these asynchronous models, essentially, which means that you decide what the best time for you is in terms of when you want to go through the materials. And of course, as I said before, the courses are all 7 weeks long, so there are deadlines on a weekly basis. But during that week, you can decide when is the best time for you to look at the course materials and do the assignments and things like that. You're of course saving a lot in terms of commuting time. Productivity is higher because you're not commuting to campus. Our evening courses on campus usually start at 6 o'clock in the evening, which does not work for a lot of people. So essentially, this kind of relaxes that constraint basically. Also, actually all of these courses that are in this program are taught by full-time faculty members only. Most of us who have taught in this program or has been teaching in the program since last fall have taught online before for the last 4 or 5 years. So most of us are quite experienced teaching online. The same courses we also teach on campus. So whatever quality of the courses that you get by coming on campus, you'd get the same quality in the online courses. So there is really no difference as far as the program is concerned between whether it's online or on campus. I should also just say that when we started the program last year, the reason why we started this is because the technology allows us to do it, that we can deliver courses online. But beyond that, the program is essentially the same program. So there is no mention on the transcripts or on the degree that this is an online MBA program. It is exactly the same program as it is on campus. All right. So just to kind of talk to you about the quality a little bit. Let me go through the overview here. First, on the curriculum structure, I just mentioned this: 4 courses a semester, 7 weeks each, 2 courses at each time. It's a 2-year completion time if you are in the cohort plan. These courses are supplemented by a few additional components. We have 2 short residencies. The first residency, as I was mentioning before, is at the start of the program. It's essentially going to be in August, where you come together as a group, and meet with the faculty, meet with the administrators. We do a few things on campus. We also host you as part of that first residency, and essentially that is covered. Last year we did this as a 4-day program over a weekend, so we started like on a Friday and ended on a Monday basically, so that we can minimize the disruption to everybody's work schedule. So that's how the first residency is. The second residency is at the end of the program. If you are in the cohort plan, this will be at the end of your second spring semester, and there you're actually doing a few days again on campus related to one of the ending courses for the program, and then there are some other sessions and events around it leading up to the graduation event basically. We also started having an optional 1-day on-campus meet the faculty session. We actually did this with the current cohort about a couple of weeks back. They were on campus on a Friday where they met basically all the faculty and the administrators again, for the faculty members who are teaching the courses in the spring and in the summer sessions. And essentially, again, as I said, it's optional, which means it's up to you whether you want to join it. But most of the people in that cohort actually came to campus because they really found the value of coming, and physically be here for that day and meet everybody again and meet the faculty and so on. Also, because this is a global strategic management kind of a concentration, and we have an additional health services concentration for this fall, but everything that we do is so much global today. Many of the courses actually touch upon this global aspect when the professors actually teach the courses. And there's a practicum component in there, which is the international trip, which is a week in the summer. So essentially, this will be a trip to a country or 2 countries, depending on the choice of the student body for that particular cohort. This year, we are going to essentially China, but we'll be visiting Hong Kong. We're going to go to Shenzhen and go to Beijing. So the group is going to leave on a Friday from here and come back the following Sunday. So it's essentially a week spanning 2 weekends, and essentially trying to figure out, how we meet and greet with the business leaders in those countries and hear from them firsthand on what some of the challenges and issues are. All right. So this is actually a component which we built into the program because we think it adds value to the overall program, and it is also tied back academically to one of the courses that you end up taking right after you get back from the trip. So there's a very strong connection between the practicum part of it and the academic part of it in terms of getting the the exposure for these courses. That is the major concentrations. As I was saying, the main concentration we have is the strategic business management concentration, and we have essentially 5 electives in each of the functional areas. So as you can see, beyond the core courses, there's a set of core courses which you'll take in the first year. These 5 courses you'll be looking at in the second year basically, and you can see that all those 5 courses are being taught from a strategic aspect basically. So you have strategic financial policy and planning, there's a strategic accounting course, there's a strategic marketing planning course, and so on. In addition to that concentration, we are starting a new concentration this fall, which is in health services management. This is under development currently for fall, but essentially for this fall and the following spring 2013 that is, you'll be taking essentially the same set of core courses as the students in the strategic business management concentration. So if you're interested in the health services part of the program, then you should get in touch with us to get some additional details if you want to. But as I said, we are currently developing the electives for this, which will essentially be offered next year. All right. So the global focus, I just mentioned that each of these courses has a global focus in it, and that's how the program is kind of structured basically. The admission requirements are relatively few actually. There is an online application form which is available through the website for the program, and if you are on the webinar now, basically if you decide to apply, we will waive the application fee because you're attending this webinar, but with the condition that you must apply within the next 24 hours. So if you do so, the $75 fee is waived for you. We also would be requiring the GMAT or the GRE scores, but there's a condition there for those GMAT or GRE scores. If you have had at least 5 years of progressive work experience, then based on a case-to-case basis evaluation, we will waive the GMAT requirement basically. And what I mean by progressive is that you should demonstrate, essentially increasing responsibility in the workplace, managing people, managing budgets, for example, having some control over the strategic planning of the department or the unit you are working in, things like that basically. So when you make the application, you will be including a resume as part of the application. And before you actually make the application, you can email us about whether you qualify for this or not by sending your current resume. And based on our evaluation of your CV, we can kind of go back and tell you whether we're waiving the GMAT for you or not. Of course, we need official transcripts for all your previous degrees. I just mentioned the resume. We need a personal statement, and we need 2 letters of recommendation. And if you are an international student, then we'll also need either your TOEFL or your IELTS score. Now, just to mention that you can make the online application happen quickly if you want to get the fee waived. You can send me or Kevin your resume, and we can tell you whether we're going to waive the GMAT for you or not. We don't need the official transcripts right now. You can send us unofficial copies of the transcripts with your application. And with that, the application form, the resume, and the personal statement, we can make a conditional decision on your application. The 2 letters of recommendation can come subsequently, but at least this allows you to get a decision on the application sooner than later. So so that's kind of the admission requirements in terms of what we need. The costs for the program for this coming year is going to be $64,500. This includes essentially everything in the program except for the travel for the 2 residencies, the first residency in August and the ending residency. So the tuition is covered, the course materials are covered, all the costs for the international trip for the global practicum is covered. When I say the cost of the course materials, this basically includes all the materials, including books and cases and so on, in the e-versions, because this is an online program. So we give you the option to get the e-versions of the books or the print versions, but we'll cover the cost of the e-versions of the materials basically. So essentially you get almost everything covered except for the travel for the residencies for the first and the second. The global practicum, actually the international trip, that one, the travel and everything else, all the costs are covered in there basically. Upon acceptance, we are asking for an initial deposit of $1,000 because essentially we need to use that deposit to plan for the first residency, and also that allows you to reserve your spot on the program basically. I just wanted to spend a little time on the current cohort with the 18 students, working professionals, all of them. Actually, for the GMAT waiver policy, I believe we waived the GMAT for all 18 of them because all of them had at least 6 to more than 30 years of work experience. So really diverse background. We have CPAs, JDs, CFOs from the health sector. We have a few people from the clinical sector. We have people from the financial sector in Manhattan. We have a person from Utah who's in the oil and gas exploration industry. So a bunch of different people, basically. Insurance background, it's a pretty eclectic background. I would just point to you that because of the fact that they were on campus for that one Friday 2 weeks back, we actually captured some of their feedback based on what they have seen in the program so far. And that video is actually online on the program website. So if you want to kind of see and hear what they have to say about the program, you should click on hofstra.edu/online-MBA, and there's a section which says hear from our students. If you click on that, you'll be able to see that video and view it basically. All right. Just some idea about the courses. I kind of mentioned this at the beginning that it's asynchronous, which means that for the most part, the courses are not being taught where you have to come online at a particular time during the day or day of the week. So these are flexible from that standpoint. And of course, as I said, there will be deadlines on a time basis, but you can choose again, when to do the things that you have to do. All the courses feature a bunch of different aspects, in terms of how the courses are taught. There's a combination of audio and video lectures. There's a lot of discussion forums. There are presentations by the students and by the faculty members. The general tests and quizzes. We do a lot of case discussions, use wikis and blogs. So you can see there is, multiple different ways by which different parts of the courses can be taught. There is a synchronous component which some of us end up using, which is the WebEx-based sessions, something similar to what we're doing now, which is the professor and the students can come online for an hour or so, maybe once a week. And many of the courses that are being taught using WebEx sessions kind of limit these sessions to a few sessions only during the course. So essentially, that kind of simulates the class environment. So if you're kind of thinking, how the online course is, whether this is a good model for me or not, essentially what we are, the way we have presented the courses would be such that you would not miss much in terms of the interaction. These are not correspondence type courses where I give you a bunch of materials as instructor and you read up on the materials and come back to me with a test or a quiz at the end of a week or 2 weeks. That's not really the way these courses are taught. There's a lot of interaction. There's a lot of things you have to do on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. But it gives you the flexibility in terms of when you want to do these things. So I would also point out to you that we have a demo course available for viewing basically. And if you want to kind of look at a sample course demo, you need to email me with a request. My email address is also on the website, and you can also email either me or Kevin Taylor about the sample course or for any other details on the course. That is, I don't know, Kevin, you wanted to add something to what I just said?
I just want to say hello, everybody, and welcome. You're taking the first step in really securing your future. We here at Hofstra have what I'd like to call a hidden gem, and that is that we have recently become ranked as the 5th best MBA program in the Northeast. And how that translates for you is that the faculty that teach in our evening MBA program are the same faculty, same quality of faculty that teach in our online program. Our online program, the MBA program, was built with the foundation created out of the evening program. So the courses that you actually are enrolling in are the same as you would if you were taking a traditional residency MBA program. So this program, as Dr. Sengupta has pointed out, is the same as our evening program in that the curriculum and the faculty are the same. The structure is very different and unique, unlike anything that we've offered here. So you are looking to enroll in a grassroots program here. So I congratulate you all on that. We have a number of people that are online here, and I'm sure we're going to have questions coming in, and Dr. Sengupta and I are here to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, I just also wanted to point out before we go to the specific questions, and based on similar sessions we've done before, we've had questions on these lines, which is what's the difference between this program and the traditional MBA program? And as Kevin was mentioning, there is really no difference as far as the courses are concerned. It's just that we are delivering the courses in the online format rather than you being on campus. And other than that, other than the courses, that is, all the services that we have on campus, including the career services, the library, the information technology based services, and so on, are all available to you. So so there is a strong component of the career services for our on-campus programs, and essentially the same services are also accessible by you. Essentially, most of the resources that a student would need to go through the program in terms of the library research and those kind of things, they are all available online. So anything that a regular campus student has, you also have as part of the online program. Basically, when we designed the program last year, there were two things that we were looking at. One is that there was a lot of feedback when we designed it, that is before we designed it, that a lot of feedback from alums and other people who are interested in our program, that they really would like to come here for the MBA, but they could not because of the logistical schedule, in terms of you have to be here by 6 o'clock on a weekday evening to start taking the classes here, which for a lot of people was not possible, especially if you're working somewhere else like in Manhattan or somewhere. It was physically not possible to do it. So that was one of the reasons why we said we need to provide the flexibility with a program like this, where students can take the program from their current location. So that was one thing. The second thing was that we wanted to treat this program as an extension of everything else that we offer here. So therefore, we are kind of harping on this point that everything that we do is really the same as in all the other programs that we have here. So those were the two key points in terms of developing the program last year, and that is also the reason why all the people who are teaching the program are teaching in the regular program also, and most of the people who are teaching in the program have taught online for a number of years already, so they are pretty experienced in in teaching in online, that is. So we have a few questions. Maybe Kevin, if you want to answer the financial aspect of this, one on scholarships, the other one on financial aid.
Somebody has asked, are there scholarships available? Currently, there are no scholarships available in this program, largely because most students that either join an online MBA program, an evening MBA program, or an executive MBA program have some level of compensation from their company. So scholarships at this particular point in time are for those that are enrolled in our full-time day MBA program. Financial aid, however, is available for anyone and everyone that applies. The difference that people get hung up on is really your need. Is it a private loan? Is it a regular loan? Is it subsidized? Is it unsubsidized? So there are various packages available for everybody, regardless of how much money you make. It's just that your need is based on your income, and then from there it's determined as to what type of loan that you would be given or awarded.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions on the option for going out of the cohort. So let me just answer that. One is that if you opt out of the cohort, can you take regular classes and then go back into online? The answer at this point is no, because if you opt out of the cohort, you have the option of remaining online but take a reduced load, or you can opt out of the cohort and completely switch out of the program and go to the regular MBA on campus. If you do that, then you essentially transition from the online program to the regular MBA program, because the course structure, if you remember, I said that the courses are 7 weeks long. The regular semester courses are 15 weeks long. So there is a mismatch in terms of the timing and the coordination of the courses. So it's not that easy to kind of go back and forth between the two programs. The cost structure of the online program is also slightly different, because we have the residencies and the global practicum as part of the tuition cost, the program cost, that is. We're also covering the course materials cost in the program, which we don't do for the regular MBA. And also the GMAT waiver only works for the online MBA program with the work experience requirement. So so it's essentially two different types of program, but because we understand that you may want to get into a cohort plan and may not want to carry the full course load going forward, we do give you the option to opt out of it, but it's difficult to come back into it once you opt out of it. So that's one thing. Does the cost of the program change if you opt out? Yes, it does, because as I say, If you opt out of the cohort into the traditional on-campus program, then it's a different program structure you're looking at. Do you have something like that?
Yeah, I was going to jump in. Dr. Sengupta had mentioned for a brief minute there the GMAT, and one question had come up that I wanted to address and then transition back to what he had said, and that is there a minimum requirement for the GMAT score? Along the lines of what he had said, Dr. Sengupta was talking about the current population that we waive the GMAT for most, if not all of them. And quite honestly, the students that have joined this program are working professionals. That is to say, they are not undergrad students that are just coming out of school, may or may not have been able to secure a job at this point and decide, you know what, let me go back to school since I have some time. Typically, the type of student that comes into this program is one that has a lot of job responsibilities, that may do some moderate to maybe heavy travel, and just really cannot commit to a regular one-night-a-week program. And for that, that person, this program is ideal. I want to make sure that we're very clear that online does not equate to easier. It simply equates to convenient. So it's more convenient because there's a lot more flexibility with this program. So that was a long-winded way to talk about the minimum score for GMAT. Again, we don't have a minimum score because the average student that's been applying so far has significant years of work experience. Now, we do accept transfer credits, but it would have to be from a school that you've attended within the last 5 years with a grade of B or better, and the school would have to be AACSB accredited. We will accept up to 9 credits in transfer that have to be matched up to our core curriculum. And I don't recall if that's part of our presentation, but if for anybody that's interested in a listing of the core courses, Dr. Sengupta or I can send you a what we call a curriculum checklist that identifies all the core courses. If you feel any one of the courses listed on that sheet is something that you've taken at a graduate level at an AACSB accredited school with a grade of B or better in the last 5 years, it would qualify for transfer credit.
I think we have a question on how long the decision takes for applications once we receive it. It's usually pretty quick. Once you give us the few things that we discussed before, which is we need your application form with all the details filled in. We need your personal statement, your resume, unofficial copies of your transcripts. I believe that is enough to give us the conditional decision on your application. And then afterwards, you'll have to give us the official transcripts and the letters of recommendation. And usually once you complete those 3 or 4 things, which are all done online, by the way, we receive that packet, we can make a decision within a couple of days. So it's a quick decision.
On the online application, you will see it's going to require a number of different items. However, again, as Dr. Sengupta stated, in order to press submit, you will need just the minimum application and transcript or resume. You can submit either one of those 2 items, and the system will allow you to submit, but your application will not be complete at that time. If you apply to any of our other programs, all 5 items must be in place before you're allowed to submit the file for review.
One more question on the number of years of work experience. We really don't have a minimum required, in terms of the number of years. The 5 years of work experience that we have stated for the progressive type is for the GMAT waiver, but usually people in this type of programs have at least 2 or 3 years of work experience after their undergraduate, education, that is. Because again, as I said, this current cohort, if I go by that, it's a pretty mature group. The minimum work experience we've had is someone with 6 years. So, so it is not required, but it is recommended to have 2 to 3 years of experience. But if you have more than 5, we will obviously evaluate your resume for the GMAT waiver. The travel part of it, there was a question on this. Travel covered for the global practicum? Yes, it is. But the travel for the domestic residencies in New York are not covered. That's the only part that is not covered. But the travel for the global is covered as part of the program cost. Let me see if we have any other. I think we've covered most of the aspects of the questions that we have to.
Somebody's asking if they can apply to both
That's a good question.
programs, and in theory you can. I say it like that because the system doesn't allow you to do it, but you can begin the application to one and decide, you know what, it's not a good fit for me, so let me consider another program. So my suggestion, to be quite honest with you though, is we have actually had, we're enjoying our success with this program, not only because the inaugural class was really excited to be a part of the program and have become really marketers for us, but also with this recent top or 5th best in the Northeast ranking. With that said, if you have any interest at all in this program and you're considering applying to yet one of our other programs, I would strongly suggest that you apply to this one first and see if you're a candidate for this program. The reason why I say that is we have a cap on this program unlike any of our other ones. So we are only enrolling a cap of 25 students, and that's 25 between both the strategic business management concentration and the health services management concentration. As Dr. Sengupta has discussed, we have a number of applicants already, and we've admitted a few people, and what identifies them as serious candidates is they've submitted their deposit. So while we absolutely have seats available for fall admission, if you're choosing between two programs, this is the one that I would suggest you apply to first, see if you're a candidate, become admitted, and then decide at that point what you want to do.
Okay, I think unless we have any other questions, which I guess we don't, I just want to point out that the website for the program, which is hofstra.edu/online-MBA, if you have not visited the website yet, most of the details for that for the program is on the website, including the details on the courses, the curriculum structure, testimonials from the students, from the faculty. There's a lot of material on that website. So if you want to do some research on the program before applying, obviously you can do that. And as I mentioned before, if you want to get a feel of how an online course is taught, send me an email and I'll send you the details to log in to a course site where you can see how a course is structured online, basically. All right, so anytime you can send an email, we'll reply pretty quickly, and then we'll take it from there. So thank you for attending. I think if you have any questions, you can email Kevin or myself, and we look forward to working with you, hopefully, for a possible fall admission this year.
It was great talking to you all, and we look forward to hopefully receiving and reviewing your application, and I hope you have a good night.